Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ashita Anime Podcast number 4. I am Marlon, Alex, and we're joined again today by Eric, my good friend from college. And today we're going to mix things up a little bit. Before we've basically just been talking about anime that I like and Eric has not particularly been fond of. And now we're going to talk about an anime that I hate with the fiery passion of a thousand suns and that Eric particularly seemed to like. So we're going to go and turn the old theme on its head and uh, try something new with it then. So I'm just going to come out and tell you straight, Eric. This anime just sucks. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm not going to mince my words here on this. This isn't a. I'm not. I'm going to try to make this not a personal attack on you, because I kind of see this as antithetical to some of the things that you've said about Excel World and Samurai Girls, but at the same time, I'm going to try to be tactful about this and try to make it focus it on the anime and not on you, because I think that um, a piece of work should stand up on its own merit rather than the opinions of people. In some ways, I know in some ways it's the opinions of people, but really, this is watching Sengoku Basara made me apologize for giving up Naruto. It made me this is like the disgusting love child of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Dragon Ball, with a with a little Japanese theme thrown in. It was like some kind of genetic modification in the womb. Um, Really, the only thing that I can possibly see redeeming this show at all is its art style and its what you call it? Its battles are at least big and energetic. That's about all that can be said for them. That's the only reason I didn't give it a 1 out of 10. I gave it a 2 out of 10. Um, so it's it's pretty bad. It's pretty shallow. The story is just not there. I mean, it's not as contact lens shallow as JoJo, but just it's just bad. Um,
Have we actually said the series name?
yeah, Sengoku Basara.
Right, yes.
I did mention that. I think.
Okay, I'm still kind of half asleep, so you'll have to forgive me. No,
If I didn't, then I've said it now.
yes. Um, yeah, if I did not feel that I could defend it, I would not have suggested it, but yeah, it's nice to know that we are pretty much polar opposites as far as taste goes.
No, not on everything. I think that
Uh,
we can agree on a few things at least.
right.
But um, let's see. Uh, by episode 5, I'd had absolutely enough of it. I mean, the battles have no sense of pacing. They're just these overpowered slugfests of rocks bashing against each other. The characters have no personality. I mean, after I finished face palming after that mecha showed up in episode 5. I went and watched a current anime that's airing right now, Girls in Panzer. It's a anime. It's a semi moe anime about high school girls who participate in tank warfare as a martial art, and it has a better sense of flow and strategy to its battles than Sengoku Basara does. That's
Uh,
just how bad this anime is. I mean, I'm rating like Girls in Panzer like a 6 or a 7 right now for like various other reasons because I like Moe. But just on the basis of the battles alone, I would give Girls in Panzer like a 4 compared to Sengoku Basara's 2. That's just how bad these battles are orchestrated. That there is no sense of strategy, there's no sense of flow. It's just roar. The characters glow in their signature colors, then the two colors collide with each other, and people go flying, and it's like, this is not entertaining. This is not fun. I'm not enjoying this at all. There's just nothing to it at all. I might as well just like pour two different colors into a drink mixer and turn it on for all the entertainment value that offers me.
I don't know. That seems like it'd be fun. But let's go over a couple things. First off, that mecha character that you said, he's actually a person, based off of Honda Tadakatsu.
I get all
The
these characters are based off of historical characters from the Warring States period. I gathered that much.
Yeah, well, it's called Sengoku Basara, so yes, it had better be. But his entire thing is that he has a fandom name called Handom, which is based off the Gundam because he does in the video game series that it's based off of, and also in the anime, he's shown to be an overpowering, almost nigh mecha guy. And that eye glowing thing that he does, and the launching that he does when he takes off, is reminiscent of the Gundam's launching segment. So it's an in joke. But Sengoku Basara is excellent because A, it's a good adaptation of something that I enjoy, the Sengoku Basara games, which are, for people who don't know, are Dynasty Warrior like beat 'em ups where you are essentially playing one overpowered general and you run around and you kill hundreds of people and then you fight other overpowered generals in a way to control checkpoints on a map. And ultimately, the anime is an excellent adaptation of that where the overpowered generals are running around. They're doing things pretty much irregardless of what the armies are doing. And it's definitely got, saying that they have absolutely no personality is putting it extremely lightly and doing it a huge disservice, honestly. But at least you did like the art style.
I said that it was I don't really say I like it. I think that it's fine. I think it's average. I think that it's colorful. It's bright. I'm not. It's better than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, if anything.
Oh my god, you keep bringing up JoJo's. I'm gonna have to make you watch that, you know. Um,
Um, it, uh,
I'm gonna have to make you watch it if you keep bringing it up.
I said that Sengoku Basara compares favorably to JoJo's, but yeah, that's about
If
all
you
that I
keep
can
bringing
say.
it up, I swear to God, because okay, so let's go into like the main reason that I really like JoJo's, and this is probably going to give a better sense of my taste than pretty much anything we've talked about before.
Can we tie it into Basra a little bit too?
Yeah,
All right,
wait,
go ahead.
what kind of?
You said that you're going to
Uh,
give the main reason why you like JoJo's.
oh, well, I meant Basra.
Okay.
Wow, I am confused today.
I
Okay,
know it's late for me and early for you,
yeah.
so yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
So the major reason that I like Sengoku Basara is that one, the character work is all well defined for the reason that it has to draw from video games. When you create a video game character, you have a list of three things that you absolutely have to do. One, you have to make them distinctive from each other in the game space so that you don't get confused while playing the game that, oh, I was actually that character instead of this character. It's why most fighting game character designs tend to differentiate extremely much between characters. It's why there's such a thing as the profile test, where if you can tell the difference between character types when you're just viewing them in profile or behind a shadow, then it's a good design. It's why I slam a lot of modern anime for being so similar. It's to me, modern anime has fallen on to generic character designs where they don't stand out very much. An example of that from a show that I should have liked probably more than I did was Gundam Seed, where all of the characters literally have the same like face structure, It's just different colors of eyes and hair to differentiate between them, and it gets really confusing, especially in Super Robot Wars games, and it's not good. But I think Sengoku Basara has a really interesting visual style, and each of the characters is differentiated. I mean, we've got Masamune Date, who has 6 katanas and huge helmets, hair, it's blue, it's great. And then on the other hand, you've also got Sanada Yukimura, who is the other main character, the Deuteronomist it's called. And he's got open shirt, red clothing, 2 spears that set on fire. It's really fantastic character design, and I really appreciate that in the show.
I don't know. Yes, they're visually distinct, but their personalities are almost identical. They are just these bricks of manly testosterone with absolutely no other goal in mind than winning battles.
Wait,
It's like
you're saying that Yukimura's personality is the same as Masamune's?
pretty much
You're kidding, right?
they're just oozing manliness. They have no goals whatsoever aside from winning battles. There's no personality to them whatsoever. They're just like rocks. Like I said, it would be the equivalent of them fighting is putting uh, food coloring into a drink mixer and turning it on.
You
That is the equivalent of their personalities.
you clearly weren't paying attention then, because Yukimura's entire thing is that he lives to he lives to serve his lord Oyakata-sama.
By fighting.
Yes, because it's a war. Everyone fights, even the ones who don't want to. But he lives to serve his lord Oyakata-sama, and his entire journey throughout the entire series is one in which he follows Oyakata-sama while Oyakata-sama is trying to get him to become his own general, which he eventually does, but that's way in the third game, and that would be the movie, and honestly, I haven't even seen the movie, so I don't know how good of an adaptation it is. On the other hand, Date Masamune is shown as the, let's say, prototypical gangster figure where he cares about his men to a fault, but he also has his own goals. Keep in mind, everyone has the same goal, and you don't get to that goal without fighting. They all want to, every character in the series either A, wants to overthrow Oda Nobunaga because he's shown as a hilariously one-note demon emperor.
Yeah, that was just stupid. It was like he's got the dastardly mustache. It's like, oh gosh, could you get any more cliche with that? This is so childish. It's like an 8-year-old's vision of masculinity.
Yeah, but they all either want to overthrow Oda Nobunaga, or they want to unite Japan under them, because at this point in time, Japan isn't united,
Yeah,
which is
I
important.
don't know much about Japan's history before the Meiji Restoration. That's most of what I've read over and studied, but I am aware that of most of what's going on during the Warring States period. So yeah,
Right?
I got you.
That's the historical basis for the game. The game doesn't really follow that because technically Oda Nobunaga united everything, and then he died or was betrayed, and then he was succeeded, and then who by the villain of the second arc actually, which is kind of interesting, who is then betrayed or dies, and then is succeeded by Tokugawa Ieyasu, who shows up in the first arc and dies, and then in the second arc, and then in the third arc. But yeah, they do all have characters. Just because you were too like completely absorbed by their masculinity doesn't mean that it's not there. You just weren't paying enough attention.
I don't know, man. Did you watch it in English or Japanese?
Both.
Okay.
The Japanese is better.
Yeah, the Japanese is better, but I understand enough Japanese to really get how overacting these people are, and the script is just like, oh man, this is just so over the top. It's just absolutely silly.
Right.
Yeah, character designs are distinct, but it is just the style is totally schizophrenic. Like I said, you got that mecha guy. Masamune is riding a horse cycle, complete with the handlebars and the totally purposeless tailpipes.
Yep.
What's his name? Um, dang. Takeda Shingen is so mammoth of a man that he has to ride on two horses. It's just so over the top. It's absolutely silly. Like I said, it's just so immature. Naruto is a more mature anime than this because it actually has characters with depth to them. The actually uh, are more than just the war. They're more than just that. It's all just too simple. I watched the first 5 episodes, and this is a 13 episode series. Let me tell you what the episodes felt like. It felt like episode 1 and 2 should have been episode 10 and 11. Episode 3 should have been episode 1 of season 2. And then episode 4 and 5 should have been episode 6 and 7. And so I felt like the first 2 episodes was like the climax. Like they finally like reached the final boss, and the final boss has showed himself, and he's showing him off and showing him down. And he's like, "There's no way you can defeat me." And they're just like, "Okay, it's time for the climax." And then the next episode, Masamune is off with his men, not doing anything really except thinking about the next stage of the war. Like he gave up and lost, and it's the next season, and now they're gonna go move on to like the next arc for him. And then it goes to episode 4, where it's like the middle of the season, but the characters are more established and they're moving forward with the war, and it's like, this is all over the place. Where is this going? I'm lost.
Yeah, but that's
Who
kind
are
of
these people?
that's its entire strength, honestly. Not the confusing character arc. That's you not paying attention, honestly. But it is completely over the top. In the first 5 minutes, you are introduced to a guy who wields two spears at the same time that sometime catch on fire and propels him through the battlefield. You're introduced to a guy who literally has a motorbike for a horse. To the point where that actually became a meme. If you Google search, you'll find image macros of Masamune and his horse, and it's got the quote, "My horse is a motorbike, your argument is invalid." He also has 6 katanas, which he wields, one between each or a knuckle when he gets serious. It's so completely over the top that it's awesome and fun, which is something that I feel a lot of anime misses. It's one of the best examples of a series that I enjoyed just because it knows exactly how over the top it is, and it has fun doing it. Another example of a series that I also know that you liked, for a fact, was Gurren Lagann.
I was just about to talk about that.
Yeah, which is also one of my favorite animes from roughly the same time period. I think it was a few years before Sengoku Basara.
Sounds right.
But it's so completely like over the top and awesome, and every episode mounts the or tops the other one in ridiculousness. Yeah, it's fun. It's something that just there aren't enough of.
But here's the thing. Gurren Lagann actually has a comprehensible story, and the manliness is a more true version of masculinity. it has the courage and determination of camaraderie, and the man lets his guard down around the people that he trusts. And there's emotions more complex than I'm going to defeat the bad guy because he's a bad guy. It's about sticking to your guns, making good on your promises, and helping those in need. Like, who is that loyal, that really like honorable character that died in episode 5? I can't remember his name because he
It's
annoyed me so
Oichi's
much.
husband who existed to die, so don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah,
Hazai
and
Nagamasa.
it's just like I wanted to wring the guy's neck because he's not sticking to this whole facade of honorability that he's trying to exude. It's just like, oh no, stop it! You're not holding up to the character archetype that you just established in the last episode. What is wrong with you?
No, but he's holding up to the samurai ideal of following his lord. To the bitter end, he will follow his lord. That's his entire thing. If you want the honorable following your friends to the bitter end, then you get Date Masamune and his retainer of which will do everything for him to the point of, in a couple episodes, actually literally the next 2 that you didn't watch, goes to save some of his underlings who are never really named, but they get kidnapped and held ransom for some treasures. Like, the overarching plot of Sengoku Basara isn't necessarily that these people are fighting. It's that they are all joining together in one way or another to defeat Oda Nobunaga.
Yeah, I'm totally not seeing that at all. I'm just like, what are you talking about? They're all at each other's throats. They're all over the place. Oda Nobunaga is just not doing anything, and all of his little buddies are all just so cartoonishly villainous as well that I want to give them all wedgies. It's just like, what is wrong with you people? Just grow up. This reminds me of like my little like Power Ranger imagination things that role play that I did when I was in like 4th grade or something. It's just so immature. There's no complexity. There's no refinement to it whatsoever.
Right, I would put it up there with a stupid action movie. I enjoy stupid action movies. When I watch an anime, I tend to watch it for like one of 3 reasons. One, I want to see someone who has really excellent ideas plot things out, whether they be gambles such as in Akagi or Kaiji, or battles. And the best example of which is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which has some absolutely brilliant solutions to some of its battles. Um, uh, Otherwise, I also watch for excellent story arcs, wonderful drama, a good example of which is Cowboy Bebop, or if we're getting more recent, I think Psycho Pass probably will live up to that. I haven't watched more than the first episode, so I can't really say anything to that, but I think that that's going to be a strong story-driven, character-driven anime. Or I have the fallback of something that doesn't take itself seriously, something that's incredibly fun to watch, even if it's just for a half hour where I turn my brain off. And that is Sengoku Basara.
I don't know. I guess that's just part of my personality is I don't like turning my brain off, or rather, maybe I can't turn my brain off. Also, another thing that really struck me is you were talking about how much you hate the tsundere archetype, the tsundere character, and Kasuga is so tsundere. I was just like, we got to address this. How can you reconcile that? Even I think it's a disgusting level of tsundere, and I like tsundere characters.
But she's not tsundere for the person that she falls in love with. She approaches everyone else with hostility. Plus, that's also assuming that I actually like the Kasuga character. I don't necessarily. I think that she's got a lot of problems. But along with the other ninja, Sasuke, which is an archetype that I absolutely love, she doesn't get very much screenplay.
I don't know. I also had problems with her fan serviciness. If you were going to complain about if you're going to complain about Samurai Girl's fan serviciness, then you gotta once again address Kasuga.
Again, relegated to one character. She's got a different enough character design from the other women who are not, well, the other woman, I think, no, there's also Oda's wife. Um,
And
but
that
yeah,
and that gunslinger woman.
yeah, that's Oda's wife. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name either. I don't know if it even
Yeah,
got mentioned within the first 5 episodes.
I don't necessarily think so. Um, but her character design is different enough to the point where she's really the only fan servicey girl, per se. But then she's a minor enough character. Actually, I am kind of annoyed by the female characters in general in the series. They really aren't fantastic. I don't like Oichi's character archetype. I don't really like Kasuga. She's there. I can accept the fact that she is there. My problem with Samurai Girls wasn't necessarily that they were fan servicey, it's that they really existed for nothing but fan service.
I don't know. I think on some level, it's not clear cut. I'm kind of making a bit of a generalization here. I'll admit it, but in some way, I almost feel like Sengoku Basara is misogynistic compared to Samurai Girls. Extols women. It elevates them in some way. I know I'm generalizing here, but it just that's just how it struck me when I was watching Sengoku Basara. Is like, this is just misogynistic. What? I don't get it.
I would disagree with that.
To some extent, women are just so non-existent within Sengoku Basara. You can't even really make a real comparison.
Yeah, but on the other hand, in Samurai Girls, the women were also really reliant upon the male character for their power, or would eventually become as the stakes unfold, and they actually need that power level of over 9,000 to fight.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, uh, Kasuga is shown to be an incredibly competent ninja in her own rights, who is completely devoted to her lord. And, well, Oda's wife is the gunslinger who is shown to be incredibly competent in her own right, regardless of her sexuality. Plus, in the third game, at least, there's another female character who is the head of a mercenary band who is courted by pretty much both of the major factions and just gets to decide on her own.
I think here's I'm going to go back and address the big point that is I think this is the real brainy point that I can have the biggest amount of contention with you on, that I can point to as the biggest reason why this anime is just awful, 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 is the battles have absolutely no strategy to them. And for an anime that is it's a shonen action anime that has all about the fighting, it's all about the war, and the battle has no strategy to it whatsoever. If you look at Excel World, Haruki is always taking advantage of the physics of the game. He's always taking advantage of prior knowledge of his own combat game experience. You look at And if you look at girls in Panzer, they're always thinking about the terrain or trying to turn. Like in the last little arc here, the enemy, their opponent was using no, it was radio listening devices. So they turned that against their enemies and fed them misinformation to intentionally confuse their enemies and win the battle. There's strategy involved. It's smart. It's thinking. And as you already kind of said, Sengoku Basara, you have to turn your brain off. There's no thinking to it. It's just, I'm going back to that same metaphor again. You might as well take two rocks and bash them together for all the strategy that's involved in any of the fights.
Yeah, no, okay. I can actually fully and willingly give you that. It's not an anime that I watch because it's smart. You're right. Early Naruto really is smart. I would put Sengoku Basara more along the lines of, let's say Bleach, where the strongest sword wins. If I really want something where I'm watching smart fights, I'm going to go read and hopefully watch if they get up to that point, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where they've defined the world's power sets and how everything works to the point where he's going into the deep variations.
Yeah, we're definitely two different people when it comes to that kind of area. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to wrap up? I don't really have
Not
beyond. If we can both agree that it's not a very smart anime, I think that we can call this as a we have reached. While we are not in agreement on the quality, we've at least agreed on what this anime, on what Sengoku Basara is.
Yeah, no, I would actually say that that's pretty right. I didn't really expect this to go any other way, to be perfectly honest. I wasn't quite sure what to suggest, but Sengoku Basara was easy enough to find, so this went about as well as I could have hoped. Yeah, it's not very smart, but it knows exactly what it is, and I can appreciate that from an anime.
I just had an idea. Have you watched Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei?
I fucking love Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei.
So did I. But in a strange way, I feel that it's an anime that you have to turn your brain off for, but it's still smart.
Uh,
You just kind of have to sit back, not think about what's going on, just let it happen, and then think about it afterwards. Because it has it has a quality to it that you really can't keep up with it as it's going. So it's an anime that's possible to turn your brain off for. You almost have to just let it do its thing and sit back and enjoy the ride. And I couldn't do that for Sengoku Basara.
I would actually disagree with that about Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei. It's a very smart, tightly paced comedic series, which all the best comedic series require you not to turn your brain off. Like, Zetsubou Sensei is so full of references to other animes, a lot of which I watched and enjoyed, that you really can't turn it off. You blink or you miss it. Like, I know I've watched each episode of Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei's first season multiple times, just because it's that so full of chalk and brim. I don't think that.
Maybe I'm confusing just having your brain so focused that it feels like it's off. It's like that there's no moment to not think, that it almost feels like I'm not thinking.
Uh,
If that makes any sense.
Not really. No, I'm kind of more confused than I was at the beginning. No, this is very much something that if you had asked me how to watch it, I would have said just let the colors wash over you.
Sengoku Basara?
Yeah. No,
Mm.
Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei is completely awesome, but that's not something that you just let the colors wash over you. That definitely has artistic merit.
I don't know. I guess when I think about Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei, I'm thinking more about the emotions of it because the way that each scene is paced out, it has a kind of uh, has a flow of feeling to it that kind of like catches you up in a wave that you kind of have to you have to ride it. And I don't know. Maybe it's not so much that we're different people as that we watch it differently. I don't know. What's
Um,
the right way to say that?
I think we're looking for different things.
Hmm.
I'm perfectly okay with anime being something that I don't watch for any serious reason.
Hmm. I really like having my thoughts challenged when I watch an anime. That's why I rate F my favorite anime of all time, F: A Tale of Memories, which I am currently rewatching right now. It's just such a thinking man's anime that it is just wonderful. All right, so here's our conclusion. Sengoku Basara, an anime where you just kind of gotta not think and let it back and do it, sit back, do its thing, and just let it be not smart.
Yeah, just appreciate it for what it is, or don't. It doesn't really care because it's going to keep doing it regardless.
All right, I think that's enough rambling for now.
Awesome.
That was interesting, Eric. How we were able to disagree, but then find some common ground at the very end. I like that.
Yeah, well, you mentioned one of my favorite comedies of all time, so
Cool. All right then. This has been the Ashita no Anime podcast. I am Marlon. This has been Eric. You want to say goodbye, Eric?
I want to say put your guns on, so no.
All right then. So, if anybody was listening and you have an opinion you'd like to share with me, go ahead and get in contact, and we'll see what we can do. I'm always looking for diverging opinions and new ideas for this podcast, so shoot them my way if you're interested in getting in contact with me.